Chapter 1 Doomsday World, Unlimited Mineral Water. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who? Chen Dong sat breathlessly in an abandoned supermarket. While he was still in shock, he hurriedly got up and ran to the office with a security door on the second floor of the supermarket, ran in and locked himself in. Only then did he feel a sense of security. Looking through the window of the second floor office, he looked at the zombies outside the supermarket who had become walking dead, with a look of confusion. Not long ago, Chen Dong was still sitting at home, and suddenly felt dizzy. When he opened his eyes again, he was in this unfamiliar area. Before he could figure out what was going on, the zombies followed closely, causing Chen Dong to run into the abandoned supermarket next to him. Welcome all the selected challengers to the Doomsday World. Here, you need to collect supplies to maintain your life, and you also need to fight against zombies and mutated monsters that will take your life at any time. Survive by any means, all lucky challengers. At this moment, Chen Dong suddenly heard a mechanized female voice in his mind. At the same time, a perspective similar to AR technology appeared in front of Chen Dong. In the middle of his perspective, there appeared backpacks, trading windows, chat channels, emails and other interfaces. Clicking on the backpack, it was empty. Chen Dong's face sank. He hasn't replenished energy for a day. If it is true as the prompt just now said, without supplies, only death is waiting for him. Ding! You have an email, please check it. The moment Chen Dong subconsciously clicked on the email, a voice appeared in his mind. The infinite resource system has been bound to the host. Soon, Chen Dong knew what this so-called system was used for, because in his backpack, there was suddenly an icon of mineral water in the first grid, and in the lower right corner of the icon, there was an infinite mathematical symbol. Is this a system? Standard configuration for the protagonist. Chen Dong quickly took out the mineral water. Sure enough, the icon of the mineral water in the backpack did not disappear. Chen Dong frantically took out the mineral water. When 500 milliliters of mineral water filled the entire office, Chen Dong was ecstatic and confirmed that he had obtained the legendary system. This system can provide him with an unlimited supply every day, and today it is mineral water. Chen Dong clicked on the chat channel and found that there was a same city logo below. At this time, many people were speaking on the channel. Number 89757, damn, what is this? Suddenly teleported here and said to fight zombies. I want to go back. Number 777889, it's over. There are no supplies around. There are zombies everywhere outside. I guess it's going to be wasted. Number 589345, I just saw an unlucky guy being bitten by a zombie and immediately turned into a zombie. Fortunately, I ran fast. Number 450321, instead of talking nonsense, it's better to hurry up and collect supplies. Chen Dong slowly finished all the chat content and finally confirmed that all this was true. The selected and qualified people were teleported here and forced to participate in this survival game. Looking at the numbers on the chat channel in the same city, at least hundreds of thousands of people have come to this Doomsday World and are in the same city as himself. So, are there more people and more cities? And the moment the prompt sound officially sounded, the game has already begun. Some people will continue to survive after collecting supplies, while others will soon starve to death, thirsty, or be bitten to death by zombies. Chen Dong continued to click on the trading platform and found that a small number of people were already selling supplies. Most of them were food and water, and there were also a small number of other supplies, such as flashlights, lighters, etc. The way of trading is barter, and the seller proposes conditions. As long as the buyer has the corresponding supplies, the transaction can be completed. Looking at the few trading needs, they are basically water and food, and what he lacks the least is mineral water. Chen Dong directly cleared out all the goods on the trading platform that were exchanged for water resources. The mailbox prompt sound kept ringing. In just a moment, Chen Dong solved the food he needed for a long time. Number 10086 bought 5 pieces of bread. Number 10086 bought 2 packs of snail noodles. Number 10086 bought 3 servings of pasta. Number 10086 bought 1 lighter. At the same time, many people in the chat channel came out to discuss who number 10086 was. Number 38383, fuck. The 5 pieces of bread I just put out were bought by number 10086. So many supplies. Number 9527, what do you mean? All the supplies I put out were bought by number 10086 alone. Number 979698, isn't this number 10086 a game agent? Cutting our supplies will increase our difficulty of survival. Number 56666, it's very likely. Otherwise, how could someone have so many supplies to exchange for things at once? It's very likely that he is the mastermind behind the scenes. Chen Dong looked at the chat content and his own number, and then he found that the numbers of both parties would be displayed during the transaction. This setting directly exposed him to everyone, but fortunately, the numbers of both parties will only be displayed when the transaction is opened. After Chen Dong exchanged mineral water for other supplies, he exchanged these new supplies for supplies that meet the transaction needs. Now, he can open a grocery store by himself. Chen Dong took out a portion of hot pasta and a glass of orange juice from his backpack, and continued to swipe the trading platform while eating, but he never got what he wanted, weapons. What he lacks most now is self-defense tools. Not to mention guns and ammunition, even a baseball bat or a fruit knife could not be found. Thinking carefully, it should be that the collected people did not put them on the trading platform. After all, when surrounded by zombies, having a good self-defense tool can increase the chance of survival. However, today is only the first day, and the pressure of survival is not great. Many people are still hiding in safe areas and have not gone out to collect supplies. After a few days, when they have reached the end of their rope, Chen Dong believes that the supplies will slowly become abundant. Now, he only needs to stay in this abandoned supermarket and wait for himself to accumulate enough self-defense power. Chen Dong walked down to the first floor of the supermarket to see if there were any supplies. However, he searched the entire supermarket and found nothing. Finally, when he walked into the bathroom to relieve himself, he found a wooden box in front of the wash basin. Is this the supplies? Chen Dong said to himself as he walked towards the wooden box, successfully opened the bronze-level supply box. Obtained wood times 10. Obtained rope times 1, better than nothing. Chen Dong directly put all the supplies into his backpack. He looked again to see if there was any usable water in the bathroom, but found that the faucet was just a decoration. Bang bang bang. After coming out of the bathroom, Chen Dong was about to go back to the second floor, but heard someone knocking on the door and shouting outside the supermarket. Is there anyone? Open the door, please, there are zombies chasing me. Chapter 2. Check your conscience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Dong walked to the door of the supermarket, looked out through the gap, and found a woman standing outside the door. He also doesn't know how to describe it with words such as closed moon, shameful flowers, beautiful and charming. Giving this woman full marks proves everything. Chen Dong had seen many women, but this woman made his eyes shine. With her looks alone, she would at least rank first among the women he has ever seen. Who are you? Chen Dong did not open the door immediately, but asked loudly inside. Xia Anshi's face was full of anxiety and pleading. Little brother, I've been living outside for a day without any supplies. Please let me in first. I'll be happy to work as a cow or a horse for you from now on. Chen Dong frowned. After thinking for a moment, he took out the wooden board from his backpack and opened the supermarket door. Thank you, little brother. The woman walked in and quickly thanked Chen Dong. When she came to this apocalyptic world, she was constantly being chased by zombies and almost died several times. Now that I see someone of the same kind, I suddenly feel a sense of security. But at this moment, Chen Dong suddenly took action. Before the woman could react, he hit her hard on the back of the neck with a knife, knocking her unconscious to the ground. Then, Chen Dong immediately closed the supermarket door, tied the woman with a rope and carried her to the second floor. Hard as under the kite. In the apocalypse, one can never be too cautious when dealing with strangers. Once you mistrust others, the price you pay may be your life. The woman woke up in a daze, still feeling severe pain in the back of her neck. Just as he was about to reach out and rub it, he found that he was already tied tightly with ropes. You're awake. Chen Dong ate the bread and walked up to the woman. The woman looked a little frightened and struggled hard. What do you want to do? Do you know this is illegal? Chen Dong couldn't help but sneer after hearing this. Inexplicably, I came into this world where I could burp at any time, and there was no question of whether it was illegal or not. I'm afraid it's not funny." Chen Dong squatted down, put his right hand directly on it, and said with a smile, "There is no way. I can't determine whether you are a good person. I can only tie you up first, and then see if your conscience is good." The woman was startled by the sudden black hand, and the corners of her eyes twitched slightly. He said with some annoyance, "You bastard, let me go if you can, and I'll let you feel your conscience." Chen Dong calmed down the expression on his face. He stood up and said expressionlessly, "You are a prisoner, and you still negotiate terms with me. Are you overestimating your own charm? To put it bluntly, I will tie you up and have a forced play. What can you do? Sample." The woman bit her lip and remained silent. She also knew that what Chen Dong said was the truth. Chen Dong sat on the sofa and lit a cigarette, and then continued, "Tell me your name and origin, and maybe I can spare your life." After he finished speaking, he waited quietly for the woman for several minutes before she broke the silence. "My name is Xia Anqi. I am a doctor. I was chased by zombies and ran here accidentally." Doctor? Chen Dong is very interested in Xia Anqi's career. In such a doomsday world, having a doctor is the guarantee of survival. Moreover, on the premise that both parties are willing to sign a contract, there is no need to worry about loyalty issues. Chen Dong smiled lightly and said, "Follow me, I will provide you with food, and you will be mine from now on. In addition, in order to feel at ease, you have to sign a master-servant contract." Xia Anqi obviously knew the advantages brought by her profession and shook her head in refusal. Chen Dong shrugged, "Not in a hurry. There is no conflict or hatred between the two parties, but he will not go crazy and deliberately hurt the other party. But we can't let people go for the time being, so be careful not to destroy the Wanyan ship." Then, he took out a piece of ham from his backpack and ate it in front of Xia Anqi. Looking at Xia Anqi's secretly sliding throat, Chen Dong said while eating, "I forgot to mention just now that your conscience is very good." Xia Anqi blushed with embarrassment and gritted her teeth, wishing she could bite this hateful young man to death. How long had she been treated like this by a man? Curse you to have an unknown old age and be covered with red hair. Chen Dong wanted to recruit Xia Anqi, a doctor, to join him, but he did not want to use force, but coercion and inducement, and worked slowly. After eating the ham sausage, Chen Dong took out a tissue from his backpack, wiped his mouth, and burped with satisfaction. "Are you hungry?" Xia Anqi looked directly at Chen Dong and said angrily, "You don't have to tease me like this." Chen Dong took out a bottle of water from his backpack, opened the lid and handed it to Xia Anqi's mouth to feed her to drink. He said sincerely, "Dr. Xia, I really want to invite you to join. You will definitely have 3 meals a day. This I promise, and I'm here to keep you safe." Xia Anqi, who had been thirsty for a long time, ignored the answer and swallowed the water as hard as she could. The sudden coolness in her body cheered her up. After drinking the water, he chuckled and said, "Brother, is this your sincerity to me?" Chen Dong had a confused expression on his face and asked with a smile, "What? I gave you water, isn't it my greatest sincerity?" Xia Anqi's voice was trembling. "So you gave me lemonade to make me hungrier?" Chen Dong said sincerely, "Dr. Xia, lemonade is my favorite drink. There is not much in stock. I will give it to you. Your words really chill me. But if you feel hungry, just nod and agree to my conditions, and I will give you a full meal immediately." Xia Anqi looked at Chen Dong with a smile on his face, and her body trembled slightly with anger. She knew that the man in front of her was just playing tricks on her and forcing her to surrender. "Give up on this idea. Even if I starve to death or jump off here and get eaten by zombies, I will not eat a single thing of yours." Chen Dong didn't care, and smiled and said, "Really, don't you want to consider it?" Xia Anqi roared. "Get out." Chapter 3 Unlimited 9mm Bullets, P92 Pistol. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It seems that Xia Anqi will not give involuntarily for a while. I can only starve her for a few days to see how things go. If it doesn't work, just throw it away to feed the zombies. In such an apocalyptic world where there is today but no tomorrow, Chen Dong has no intention of keeping a worthless burden. If it were normal, I might still daydream about keeping a warm bed, but now Chen Dong only thinks about how to survive. I don't want to think about it that much. Chen Dong shook his head to get rid of distracting thoughts, took off his clothes and pants, took out the hangers and hung them up, leaving only a pair of large pants on him. Xia and she nervously pressed her legs together and asked, "What do you want to do?" This sentence seemed to be a question, but the trembling voice and the beautiful face seemed to be more likely to arouse the possessive desire of male creatures. Chen Dong squinted his eyes and said, "I will not spend a lot of energy doing combined exercises during a time when supplies are in short supply." Xia and she blushed a little after being told her thoughts and wanted to refute. "You." Chen Dong lay on the sofa and took out a blanket to cover her, interrupting her. "Save your energy. If you have time to curse, why not take a rest early?" After saying this, Chen Dong closed his eyes and began to rest. Soon he started snoring. Xia and she could only give up and lie down on the ground to rest, but hunger made her toss and turn and unable to sleep for a long time. The lemonade just now even made her stomach acid. Early the next morning, Chen Dong was awakened by the sunlight shining on his face outside the window. He stretched and sat up, turned to look at Xianqi, and chuckled, "Hey, why is there a giant panda here? Could it be that the national treasure was also dragged here to participate in the Doomsday survival?" I saw Xianqi sitting on the ground, her face livid, her eyes covered with red threads, and big black circles surrounding her eyes. It was obvious that the other party had not slept all night. Xianqi, who had not gotten any rest, did not refute Chen Dong's teasing. Her mental state was very poor, leaving her in a trance. All this was within Chen Dong's expectation. A woman who had been hungry all day finally replenished her water supply, but ended up with lemon water. The strong hunger would only keep her awake at night. "Are you hungry? Want breakfast?" Chen Dong took out the sandwich and handed it to Xianqi's mouth. Xianqi smelled the aroma of the sandwich, and her stomach spontaneously made a gurgling sound, but she still suppressed her instinct and turned her head to the other side without looking. Chen Dong grinned and extended his thumb. "Have some backbone." Immediately afterwards, Chen Dong put the sandwich into his mouth. During the eating process, he even exaggeratedly praised, "It smells good. It's delicious." After completing the psychological defense attack on Xianqi in the morning, Chen Dong clicked on the email. The system distributed today's supplies in the mail on time, unlimited 9mm bullets. It's actually important ammunition. And it's unlimited. Chen Dong's heart couldn't help but thump, but he calmed down quickly. After all, it's not that easy to find a gun with a suitable magazine. Even as time goes by, suitable weapons will surely appear on the trading platform. But time waits for no one. The abandoned supermarket where Chen Dong is located may one day be invaded by zombies. If these zombies gave up and rushed directly to the supermarket, wouldn't it be cool for me? Chen Dong immediately opened the trading platform and started scanning goods. One morning passed, and although Chen Dong gained a lot, he still didn't see any trace of what he expected. During lunchtime, Chen Dong was eating a piece of fried rice when he suddenly stopped and sighed. "So hard." Xianqi, who was next to her, said in her slightly weak and dry voice, "You can eat as long as you want. Can you please stop eating next to me?" Chen Dong shook the fried rice and said, "You can, but it's not necessary." Xianqi did not argue, but chose to lie down and close her eyes, pretending to be an ostrich. Chen Dong continued to mutter to himself, "This fried rice is too greasy, I can't eat it." Xianqi, who had her eyes closed, suddenly heard the sound of things being thrown into the trash can, and subconsciously opened her eyes. Chen Dong actually poured the fried rice into the trash can. "What are you doing?" Xianqi asked angrily. After pouring the fried rice, Chen Dong turned to look at Xianqi and said with a smile, "As you can see, anything you can't eat is thrown away." Xianqi couldn't believe it. "You are wasting your resources. Do you know what you are doing? Do you want to eat? Are you so excited? If you want to eat, I'll just give you one. I have a lot more." Chen Dong man looked indifferent. Xianqi didn't say anything, just gave him a vicious look, and continued to lie down and close her eyes to rest. Chen Dong looked at Xianqi, who kept swallowing saliva just by smelling the fragrance of rice left in the air, and smiled to himself, "Let's see how long you can last." Chen Dong opened the chat channel and started looking through today's chat content. After the first day of baptism, many people have adapted to the rhythm of surviving in the apocalypse. Many people have gone out to collect supplies, and some have even killed zombies. Of course, more people become lunch meat in the mouths of zombies. Chen Dong, who was looking through the historical records, suddenly stared at a message, number 72727, I'm offering a P92 pistol. Is there anyone who can take it? Let me know the price in private. This message also triggered a series of heated discussions, number 23452, damn, it's amazing. Others took out pistols the next day, but I only had a razor in my hand. Number 23345, I'm so jealous. Chen Dong immediately sent a private message to the player. Brother, is the stuff still available? What are your conditions? Soon, the player replied. The stuff is still available. Are you interested? I want 100 bottles of water and 100 portions of food, of any type. Chen Dong suppressed his excitement and bargained calmly, it's too expensive. It's hard to collect supplies now. It's great to be able to avoid starvation. I'm afraid you've run out of bullets for your pistol. I have to go by bullets. The player continued to input information. How much can you offer? Chen Dong, at most 10 bottles of water and 10 pieces of bread. This time, the other party waited for a long time without a reply. Chen Dong's heart was lifted. Just when he was hesitating whether to increase the price, he finally got a reply. Okay, just treat it as making friends. There is no doubt that the value of this pistol is far more than that, but the situation is special now, and survival is the most important thing. Not many people can take out extra food and water, so he has no other choice. The other party put the P92 on the transaction interface. After both parties confirm, the transaction is completed, and the supplies begin to be sent out by mailbox. Chapter 4 Kill Zombies and Upgrade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The seller who received the water and food was smug. A pistol that had run out of bullets was exchanged for so many urgently needed supplies. This wave of blood profit. But when he saw the number of the transaction object, he was shocked. Isn't this the rumored shill? It turns out not to be. The seller announced this information on the chat channel, causing an uproar, and Chen Dong didn't know about this. Of course, he didn't care about all this. Hearing the ding prompt sound of the email, his hand trembled slightly and clicked it. A P92 pistol was lying quietly inside. Choose to receive. There was a dark weapon in Chen Dong's backpack. Chen Dong held the heavy P92 pistol and felt at ease. He opened the window and fired at the zombies on the street. The hit rate was touching. But with the blessing of unlimited bullets, a few zombies still screamed and then fell to the ground. The sudden gunshot scared Xia Anqi to sit up. Then, she looked at Chen Dong in astonishment, looking at the zombies lying on the ground and the zombies around them roaring. Chen Dong closed the window with satisfaction, and then found Xia Anqi standing there in a daze. Chen Dong just smiled, then stroked the pistol in his arms and whispered softly, finally, I don't have to be afraid anymore. At this time, Chen Dong heard that familiar voice in his mind, gain experience 1, gain experience 1, gain experience 1, gain experience 1. It takes 96 more experience points to upgrade. Chen Dong looked at his personal panel in surprise, and he could actually upgrade. I just don't know what benefits there will be after upgrading. Chen Dong found that after gaining experience, a window of personal information appeared on his interface. Click on the personal information to clearly see his physical values. Level 1, 4 out of 100. Strength 10. Agility 3. Stamina abundant. Chen Dong didn't know what the data reference standard was, but at present, his strength should be considered relatively high. It may also be because of the abundant physical strength. There is a note next to the personal data. Every time the player upgrades, there will be a random distribution of the value. The acquisition of experience points depends on the number and level of zombies killed. Chen Dong took back his personal panel and thought with his hand on his chin. It seems that hiding in this abandoned supermarket is really just a stopgap measure. This note mentions the level of zombies, so it is very likely that there will be zombies that can invade the supermarket in a later stage. It is not safe here. The strong sense of crisis diluted the joy of Chen Dong's just getting the weapon. In order to protect himself, he still has to take the initiative to upgrade as soon as possible and improve his physical fitness. Chen Dong clicked on his backpack to check his equipment. A P92 pistol as the main weapon, a military dagger, a small number of Molotov cocktails, smoke bombs, and some iron rods and iron dysentery. Chen Dong is not satisfied with the quality of these equipment on him. To put it bluntly, facing zombies, only a P-92 pistol and a Molotov cocktail can be used. Military dagger. Chen Dong is just an ordinary person after all. He doesn't have the confidence to fight in close combat. He was bitten by accident and died. After all, he had watched the zombies outside from the second-floor window and resisted several shots before falling down. Such physical fitness is really frightening. Chen Dong climbed to the roof of the abandoned supermarket and took out a telescope to look at the zombies in the distance. The view here is very good. He wants to kill the zombies at a safe distance on the roof to gain experience points. After roughly estimating the distance, Chen Dong chose a relatively safe position, took out the P-92 pistol and started shooting. Many zombies fell to the ground before they could react, and the rest of the zombies who were late to react looked at Chen Dong and roared. Chen Dong was subconsciously startled, and then found that these zombies seemed to have done nothing to threaten his safety except running closer to him. This should be the lowest level of zombies, completely zombies. Chen Dong breathed a sigh of relief and continued to shoot. The experience bar continued to rise. Experience gained 1.83 more experience points to upgrade. Experience gained 1.66 more experience points to upgrade. Experience gained 1.49 more experience points to upgrade. After a long time, Chen Dong suddenly felt a roar in his body, as if a shackle was unlocked in his body, making him feel lighter. Then, the system voice appeared. Congratulations to the player for upgrading, please keep up the good work. Chen Dong was overjoyed and immediately opened his personal information to check the changes in the values after the upgrade. Level 20/200, Strength 12. Agility 5. Stamina, Normal. The total value increased by 5 points, which seems to be similar to that of online games. Chen Dong looked at his personal panel and was quite satisfied. After upgrading, he clearly felt that his speed and reaction were much faster than before, and the pistol in his hand seemed to become lighter. Upgrading to the later stage, it is not difficult to fight zombies in melee. It is even possible to tear zombies apart by hand, but at this stage, Chen Dong does not want to think about these things. Let's take it one step at a time. He climbed down the roof and returned to his residence on the second floor. As soon as he entered the office, he saw Xia Anqi crawling on the floor like a caterpillar. 2 days of hunger had already made her hallucinate. Ahem. Chen Dong coughed. Xia Anqi was startled. At this moment, she was like a bow with a taut string. Even the slightest external interference was a strong stimulation for her. Chen Dong just took out a portion of fragrant fried rice, and Xia Anqi's green eyes stared at him. Chen Dong secretly smacked his lips. He had only seen this kind of look on those hungry wolves in the animal world who were in urgent need of food. Do you want to eat? Chen Dong helped Xia Anqi up and sat in front of him with fried rice. Listening to Chen Dong's tempting words, Xia Anqi did not respond, and the light in her eyes was slightly dim, although her stomach had begun to growl. At this moment, Chen Dong suddenly pinched Xia Anqi's cheek with his left hand and stretched her mouth open. The tender touch on his hand made Chen Dong's heart flutter. He stared at Xia Anqi, who looked exhausted but still had a beautiful face, and was stunned. Xia Anqi didn't understand and said dissatisfiedly, "Are you sick?" Chen Dong didn't say anything, and directly scooped a spoonful of fried rice with a spoon and stuffed it into Xia Anqi's mouth. Xia Anqi subconsciously chewed the fried rice in 2 bites, and the fragrance of the fried rice almost made her cry, but she reacted immediately. "Don't think of making me give in." Chen Dong continued to pick up the second spoonful of fried rice and handed it to Xia Anqi's mouth. Another bite. Xia Anqi was so hungry that even though she was strong just now, her mouth opened involuntarily, but the next moment, Chen Dong turned the rice spoon and sent the fried rice into his mouth. Then, he closed his eyes with an intoxicated look and said with satisfaction, "Oh my! It smells so good." Chapter 5 Infinite Small Umbrellas, Hot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kate Say was furious. Are you kidding me? Chen Dong swallowed the fried rice and said with a smile, "When you figure it out and follow me, you can eat whatever you want. But now, it's not okay." After that, Chen Dong ignored Kate Say, who was shaking with anger, and sat back on the sofa to eat up the fried rice. the reason why he gave Kate a bite of fried rice was not out of kindness, it was just because he was afraid that the other party would forget the taste of food after being hungry for too long, after enduring hunger for several days. Being able to taste a mouthful of fragrant fried rice would not only fail to fill the stomach, but on the contrary, it would only make the stomach acid react faster, just like a drug addict. After tasting the first bite, no second or third bite would only make him feel more uncomfortable. Chen Dong hoped that Kate would be in such a state. Kate looked at Chen Dong, who was sitting on the sofa and had a full meal, and suddenly wanted to cry. This man had no intention of sympathizing with women, and would only bully her over and over again. Chen Dong felt Kate's gaze and looked over. The two looked at each other, but Chen Dong was a little embarrassed. It was not because he was shy when seeing a beautiful woman, but thinking back to how he treated Xia Anqi in the past few days, he still felt a little ashamed because he had not completely abandoned the modern thinking, but then he immediately warned himself not to be soft-hearted. After all, Chen Dong also knew that in this world, only by abandoning those useless kindnesses can one live longer. In a world without order, being soft-hearted is a kind of weakness. Chen Dong took out a bottle of mineral water, poured some sugar, and fed Xia Anqi to drink. Then, he sat next to her. The weak Xia Anqi fell directly into his arms. Chen Dong said with some emotion, "Dr. Xia, I have to say that you are really stubborn. I give you such good conditions, just to let you become my teammate, but you don't want to do this." Xia Anqi just looked at him quietly without saying a word. Chen Dong was speechless for a while. At this time, he suddenly thought of a question. "Dr. Xia, what will you do if I let you go?" Xia Anqi still didn't say anything, and Chen Dong was too lazy to speak. Just like that, Chen Dong sat on the floor, holding the tied-up Xia Anqi in his arms, and the two were silent. Suddenly, Xia Anqi said, "What's your name?" Chen Dong smiled faintly. "Chen Dong. Dong Chen, Dong in Dong Fang Hong." Xia Anqi nodded, and then said seriously, "If you let me go, the first thing I will do is to kill you, a scumbag." Chen Dong was speechless and teased, "Dr. Xia, scumbag can't be used on me, that's all cheating, money and sex. I can't bear this title. After all, nothing that shouldn't have happened between us. But if you have this idea, I don't mind." Xia Anqi gritted her teeth. "Scumbag. I accept this wording for the time being. But the first thing you want to do is to kill me, and I dare not let you go." Chen Dong moved Xia Anqi away and responded with a smile, "Take off all his clothes and lie on the sofa. Dr. Xia, go to sleep. I don't want you to die suddenly instead of starving to death. I want someone to chat with me." Xia Anqi was also lying on the ground preparing to rest. When she heard what Chen Dong said, she immediately opened her eyes and yelled, "Shut up!" That the morning of the third day, Chen Dong woke up and found that Xia Anqi was not moving today. He couldn't tell whether she was sleeping soundly or fainted from hunger. Chen Dong walked over and gently pinched Xia Anqi's cheek. "Dr. Xia, get up." After calling several times in a row, Xia Anqi still didn't respond. Chen Dong muttered in his heart, "Is she really dead?" Then, he put his hand on the tip of Xia Anqi's nose to test. She was still breathing. Chen Dong was relieved. Then, he leaned close to Xia Anqi's ear and said, "Dr. Xia, if you don't get up, I have to give you a full body check." Xia Anqi, who was pretending to be asleep, had to open her eyes. "Get lost." Chen Dong chuckled, took out the mineral water mixed with glucose and fed it to the other party, saying, "Dr. Xia, you have to behave yourself when I'm not around. Otherwise, if zombies come and crush you, you can't blame anyone." After Xia Anqi finished drinking the water, she sneered. "Huh, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." Chen Dong shrugged. "It doesn't matter. I'm the reincarnation of Ning Kaichen, specializing in subduing female ghosts." After feeding Xia Anqi the water, Chen Dong ate breakfast while opening the email as usual to see what supplies the system sent him today. The moment he opened the email, Chen Dong thought he was dazzled. Rubbing his eyes, he realized that he was not wrong. The supplies for the third day turned out to be unlimited small umbrellas. Chen Dong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This supply has a hammer. Is it used to hold water and hit zombies? After all, This thing seems to be only useful when you want to achieve the great harmony of life and don't want to give birth to offspring. As for filling water to make balloons, it was a new way of playing invented by Chen Dong when he was a child, following his friends in the yard and secretly using the small umbrellas distributed for free by the community. Chen Dong took out a small umbrella and turned to ask Xianqi, Dr. Xia, do you know what this thing is used for? Xianqi glanced at the small umbrella in Chen Dong's hand and her face turned slightly red. Boring. Chen Dong remained calm. I mean, does this thing have other uses? For normal purposes, I will still use it. Kate explained, the raw material of the small umbrella is rubber, which can be used as a bandage or airbag. After filling it with water, it can also be used as a simple high-altitude bomb, but it is probably useless against zombies. After Kate's reminder, Chen Dong began to realize the strategic nature of the small umbrella. Bandages are scarce medical supplies. If there can be a substitute, then it will obviously have an extra layer of protection for survival. As for the airbag, Chen Dong is not sure whether there will be any bad weather or terrain in the future. If it is to cross the river, according to the current record that no one has traded transportation on the trading platform, it will not appear in a short time. Then, using the small umbrella to make a simple small motor raft is simply a pioneering tool. Thinking of this, Chen Dong began to be satisfied with today's supplies. Putting hundreds of small umbrellas on the trading platform, Chen Dong came to the roof of the supermarket again and killed zombies leisurely. Experience gained 1. Experience gained 1. Experience gained 1. Experience gained 1. In his spare time, Chen Dong opened the trading platform, unexpectedly. The small umbrella was surprisingly easy to sell. His exchange conditions are all necessary supplies. Chen Dong ate bread while muttering to himself, can these people not even eat to satisfy their impulses? Clicking on the chat channel, Chen Dong finally understood. Number 38343, brothers, there is a stewardess in Dongyuan community who is offering sex in exchange for supplies. She is also very good at playing and is very exciting. I almost got squeezed dry. Number 346304, fuck. 666. Where is it, good brother, send me the coordinates. Number 3838, same request. I'm just curious, nothing else. Number 38343, coordinates have been sent, 235,452, brothers who are not far away, go ahead. Number 10101, is there a 1? I can do it too, just give me food and water. And private message me if you are interested, moi. Chapter 6 Dare You Touch My People? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The chat channel is a lively discussion. Obviously, Chen Dong's small umbrella was able to be released so quickly, and they had a share of the credit. Chen Dong remained silent. He also understands that in such a doomsday world, there are people who cannot survive and sell their bodies in exchange for supplies. This is bound to happen, after all, in such an environment. How much is innocence worth? But Chen Dong still felt a little uncomfortable. He suddenly thought of Xianqi. If Xianqi cannot survive, will she also have to sell her body in exchange for supplies? Chen Dong suddenly stopped his unreasonable associations, chuckled and said to himself, damn, I'm in danger myself, I might lose my life one day, why do I think so much about others? After saying that, he once again focused his attention on the zombies on the street. Get experience 1. Get experience 1. Get experience 1. Congratulations to the player for upgrading, please keep up the good work. Level 3, 0/300, Strength, 15. Agility, 7. Physical Strength, Hungry. Phew, finally upgraded. Chen Dong shook his sore arms. After more than 10 hours of fighting, he finally reached level 3, with his strength increased by 3 points and his agility by 2 points. A small goal was accomplished. Now I'm hungry and it's time to eat. Chen Dong took out a pack of crispy noodles and a bottle of mineral water, replenishing his energy while browsing the trading platform. Needless to say, he actually found something useful. Pistol silencer, this is good stuff. With this thing, he won't make too much noise when he shoots, and the safety is greatly improved. Looking at the other party's conditions again, it's just 10 bottles of water, bought. Chen Dong, who is rich and wealthy, has no idea of bargaining. To him, it was a complete waste of time. Soon, a pistol silencer appeared in his hand, installed on the muzzle of the gun. It has an inexplicable murderous look. At this moment, Chen Dong suddenly became alert. In his sight, a yellow-haired man with a sinister look sneaked into the supermarket under his feet. Because the zombies on this street had been cleared away, the other party did not encounter any trouble. Chen Dong's eyes narrowed. He held a pistol and quietly walked down from the roof. As soon as I reached the stairs, I heard Xia Anqi calling for help in the office on the second floor. Help! Someone help me! Xia Anqi shouted hoarsely. Hey, I didn't expect to meet such a beautiful woman when I went out to collect supplies. I've been suffocating myself for the past few days, so I just want to vent my anger on you. A strange man's voice came from the office, then there was the rustling sound of pants being taken off, and the sound of clothes being torn. Chen Dong rushed down to the second floor with a gun in hand. Damn, what are you doing? Just be honest. Just when Huang Mao was about to use his bow, a gunshot came from behind. Then, I felt a sharp pain in my left shoulder. Oh! It hurt so much. Huang Mao covered his left arm with his right hand and cried out in pain. Chen Dong had a frosty face and stood at the door of the office holding a pistol. The barrel of the gun was slightly emitting heat. How dare you touch my people? Chen Dong's voice was low, and he shot Huang Mao on the left thigh again. Huang Mao was so painful that he burst into tears. He didn't know which muzzle to cover, so he could only lie on the ground and beg for mercy. Brother, I was wrong. I was wrong. I haven't touched her yet, please let me go. I'll be a bull and a horse for you. Chen Dong still had no expression on his face. It's useless even if you call me Dad. Huang Mao looked frightened and trembled all over. Yes, yes, you are my grandfather. You are my ancestor. An ancestor beats his grandson, that's what he should do. Please give me a lot of help, my ancestors. Chen Dong felt irritable as he listened to Huang Mao's noisy words, then he thought about Huang Mao almost getting involved with Xia Anqi, and for some reason, he couldn't control his emotions. You talk too much. Chen Dong raised his pistol and beat Huang Mao into a hornet's nest. Seeing the other party fall to the ground motionless with a look of horror and disbelief, it took a long time before Chen Dong came back to his senses. Then, he walked up to the panicked Xia Anqi and rolled his eyes. You're not dead, are you? Xia Anqi burst into tears. In all her life, has she ever encountered such a thing? Thinking that I was almost violated just now, I couldn't help but feel aggrieved. Chen Dong also remained silent. Wait until Xia Anqi's voice became hoarse from crying. Chen Dong untied the rope for her, took out a set of clean clothes, placed them next to her, and walked out of the office. The clothes you were wearing before are rotten. Put on new clothes. Chen Dong walked downstairs to the abandoned supermarket and collected all the items in Huang Mao's backpack. There is nothing good, far worse than myself. After changing clothes, Xia Anqi walked out of the abandoned supermarket and came to Chen Dong. Chen Dong took out 10 portions of water and food from his backpack. Xia Anqi frowned. What do you mean? Chen Dong shrugged and said, let you go. But whether you live or die after that depends on your luck. Before Xia Anqi could say anything, Chen Dong left the abandoned supermarket. Meeting 2 people in the past 3 days means that it is no longer safe here, and players may come one after another in the future. There was no other way, he had to choose to leave. As for Xia Anqi, Chen Dong couldn't care too much. Leaving some living supplies behind, at least to let her live for a few more days, was also the most he could do. Chen Dong walked away without looking back. The next moment, he heard footsteps coming from behind him. After many upgrades, Chen Dong's body functions have made a qualitative leap. The slightest sound that could not be heard before can now be captured. Chapter 17 Formation and Transfer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking back, I saw a person following 30 or 40 meters away. It was Xia Anqi. Chen Dong put down his gun and walked back. Xia Anqi saw Chen Dong discovering her and started to walk back. Chen Dong couldn't guess what the other party wanted to do, so he let her follow. The 2 of them kept walking like this for a long time. When it was time to take a break for supplies at noon, Chen Dong only heard Xia Anqi scream from behind. Chen Dong hurried to the rear, Xia and she followed for a long time, and her feet were a little sore, but if you stop, you will soon be far behind, so you have to bite the bullet and keep up. Finally, when Chen Dong sat down to rest, Xia and she also sat down as he wished, but as soon as he sat down, he noticed a zombie running towards him. Xia and she had no choice but to run forward, and bumped into Chen Dong who was coming. Chen Dong shot directly to the head, a few more were drawn out, and the fire suppression was over. After dealing with the zombies, Xia and she wanted to leave, but was held back by Chen Dong, looking helpless. You've been following me all this way, how long do you want to follow? Come here and have lunch together. Just like that, the two of them sat on the haystack and ate lunch quietly. Chen Dong looked at Xianqi, who was chewing slowly and completely different from before. He couldn't help but ask, Dr. Xia, what do you want to do after you followed me? Today you are destined to meet a few zombies, next time I can't take care of you when encountering a swarm of zombies. Xianqi did not answer directly, but asked, does what you said before count? What words? Xianqi said, just to join you, you have to protect me and give me 3 meals a day. You won't regret it, right? That when Chen Dong heard this, he felt a little happy. Didn't you rather die before? Are you following me now just for this? Xianqi raised her eyebrows, a little embarrassed. Does it still count? Chen Dong shrugged and sent an application to Xianqi to form a team and sign a contract. Of course it counts. Team formation successful. The master-servant contract was signed successfully. The moment the team was formed, the personal information of the two people was visible at a glance. In the team system, players will have functions such as viewing positioning and in-team voice. At the same time, teammates can selectively gift some experience to each other, but they cannot harm each other. The master-servant contract adds a strong constraint on this basis. The master dies, the servant dies, the master lives. The servant lives. If you want to terminate the contract, only the owner has the right. Chen Dong looked at Xianqi and said with a smile, Dr. Xia, call the master to come and listen. Xianqi glanced at him angrily. She couldn't say these 2 words yet. After eating and drinking, the two continued to move forward. We were careful along the way and did not encounter any great danger. Whoosh. After 3 gunshots, Chen Dong killed the 3 zombies and made a gesture behind him. When Xianqi saw it, she immediately ran all the way to Chen Dong's side. Chen Dong, how far is it? Following Chen Dong along the way, she could be said to be on tenterhooks. I even thought that it would be safer to stay in the small supermarket before. Chen Dong didn't think so and whispered, don't make any noise. There are more than 3 zombies in this building. Keep your voice down. That even with a silencer, there will still be some subtle gunfire. It was very obvious in this deathly silent corridor. In fact, this silencer is not the best. In Chen Dong's opinion, the quality of this silencer should be considered inferior, and there was a bit of air gun sound when fired. Chen Dong is still very self-aware about his own strength and equipment. The only equipment he can get now is a P92. A bullet has 15 rounds, and sometimes it may not be able to hit the target. Although 3 zombies were killed with 3 shots just now, to be honest, this was only under the specific situation that the opponent did not move and was very close. It seems that I will have to practice more marksmanship in the future. After all, bullets are unlimited. Chen Dong secretly made up his mind. After arriving at the villa area and settling down, he would clean up the zombies and loot the area. The reason why he took Xianqi through various corridors instead of taking the main road was because he had already observed it with a trading telescope before setting off. There are too many zombies on the street, so many that it can make people palpitate just by looking at them, if nothing else. With these 15 rounds of P92, even if all the bullets are used up, it may not be able to kill 2 zombies. With this current marksmanship, if you can kill one on a moving target, it's pretty good. When the apocalypse first happened, everyone was teleported and basically in a state of confusion. Some were not afraid of death, some did not believe in evil, and some panicked and ran to the street to attract all the zombies in the building outside. Therefore, Chen Dong estimated that there should not be many zombies in the building. Coupled with the narrowness of the corridor, even if there is a large group of zombies, they will not be able to swarm them. Although the speed of zombies is comparable to that of normal people, and they do not tire, this is very difficult to deal with. However, the narrowness of the corridor gave Chen Dong a certain degree of convenience in escaping. Chen Dong and Xia Anqi moved forward little by little against the wall, carefully listening to the movements in the corridor. These stupid zombies will stand still when they lose their target, however. They will occasionally wander around, looking for fresh flesh and blood to eat. Chen Dong raised his guard, holding the gun with both hands, and winked at Xia Anqi. "Go open the door." Xia Anqi's face turned pale, and she said in a trembling voice, "Let's go." Chen Dong frowned. This silly woman, why did she lose her temper at this time? Chapter 8 Infinite Cold Granules, a blockhead who doesn't know how to be gentle with women. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Open the door quickly, it's okay. Xia Anqi gritted her teeth, still looking hesitant. I don't dare. I'm afraid. Oh shit, Chen Dong was a little angry. If you don't open the door, I won't want you anymore. Xia Anqi's face turned pale after hearing this. She gritted her teeth, closed her eyes, rushed over, and pushed the door open. Chen Dong was startled. Is this stupid woman crazy? Do you want to rush in and feed the zombies? Chen Dong was so frightened that he quickly dragged Xia Anqi, a silly woman, back, then ducked out, pointed his pistol into the house, and immediately pulled the trigger. Whoosh! Chen Dong fired a string of bullets, beating the two zombies in the house into sieves. Fortunately, at least the two zombies in the house were killed. Chen Dong grabbed Xia Anqi and entered the house, immediately closing the door. Then he took off the magazine, took out the 9mm bullets from his backpack, and loaded them one by one. This is the worst part. After finishing the magazine, you have to reload one by one. Chen Dong said seriously to Xia Anqi, "Dr. Xia, I have to make something clear to you. First of all, we are teammates, not me carrying a bottle of oil. Moreover, I am the captain. I will let you do it next time whenever possible. Just do whatever you want. Don't say anything like, 'I'm afraid, let's go.' This is not the peaceful age of the past. Your status as a highly educated doctor will not work here. If this time it is not an operation to clean up zombies, but we are being hunted by zombies, your indecision will only cost us both our lives." Xia Anqi's face looked a little ugly, but she knew that what Chen Dong said was true. "I'm sorry, I know, I will be obedient in the future." Chen Dong nodded and said with satisfaction, "Don't worry, I said I will protect your safety, and I won't break my promise. I let you open the door, and I am sure that the zombies will not bite you." Xia Anqi nodded sheepishly. Chen Dong was very satisfied with this obedient attitude and took out a luncheon meat, 2 portions of self-heating rice, and 2 fruits. Such food can be said to be very luxurious in today's apocalyptic world. Xia Anqi couldn't help but swallow when she saw the food for today's meal. "Let's have something to eat. We'll stay here tonight and see if we can leave this neighborhood tomorrow." Chen Dong doesn't plan to leave. At night, these zombies will be very active, and their senses will be more acute than during the day. If you appear within the sight of a zombie at this time, even if you are not discovered by the zombies, even a small wound will attract swarms of sharks, just like cutting your own finger in the deep sea. Chen Dong took apart the rice and let it heat up on its own. "Chen Dong, where are we going?" "Today we have been trekking all the way. I am so nervous that it scares me to death. If you ask me, we might as well stay in the small supermarket before." Chen Dong curled his lips. "What do you know? I don't understand. Why don't you tell me about it?" Xia Anqi pouted and muttered. "What's so good about a small supermarket? It's okay to ask for anything, and there are a lot of people. It's in a city. In this metropolis, the population density in the old city is especially high. Stay there and settle down for a day or two. Well enough." Chen Dong shook his head and smiled bitterly. "But what do you think about the future? Stay in that place. If a large-scale zombie wave breaks out in that area that day, then the two of us will probably not even be left alive." After Xia Anqi heard these words, the image of hundreds of zombies with no end in sight immediately appeared in her mind. In an instant, a delicate little face turned white. "Even though it was an imaginary picture, I still couldn't help but feel scared for a while. I can't help but feel that Chen Dong's thoughts are very far-sighted. She is not a stupid woman, although she is a little timid compared to a grown man like Chen Dong. She is still very aware of current affairs. Thinking of this, Xia Anqi suddenly felt that following Chen Dong was a very correct decision. After eating the sumptuous food, Chen Dong took the time to rest. This was the end of the world, especially when he was on the road. He didn't dare to waste even a minute's rest. Physical strength is the most important thing to survive. Seeing this, Xia Anqi also lay down next to Chen Dong, closed her eyes and rested, but with such a man full of masculine energy lying next to him, he couldn't fall asleep. She even thought to herself, with such a beautiful woman lying next to her, how could Chen Dong remain indifferent? Is it because I am not charming enough? Xia Anqi was a little frustrated. Before the end of the world, she was a veritable school beauty at the highest medical school in the country. Even when she came to the hospital where she worked, she was also a talented chief physician with a great reputation. Why is it now that even Chen Dong can't be attracted? Xia Anqi was very distressed, but Chen Dong didn't think so much. He still clearly distinguishes between the rationality of the upper body and the animality of the lower body. Thinking about that kind of thing at this time is completely life-threatening. Chen Dong adapted to the apocalypse very quickly, and now maintains a very regular sleep schedule, and has also developed a very good light sleep. It can not only ensure sufficient vigilance, wake up very quickly when encountering danger, but also ensure that the body gets enough rest and physical replenishment. The next morning, the vibration of the mobile phone woke Chen Dong from his sleep. He turned over and sat up, first looked around to confirm that there was no danger, then he clicked on today's email and received today's unlimited supplies, cold granules. This is a very practical medical supply. After all, in such a harsh environment, many people sleep outdoors, and it is normal to catch a cold and fever. If you don't get timely treatment, it will be very dangerous. Pushed Xia Anqi beside him. Chen Dong walked to the balcony, took out the telescope, and looked at the situation on the street. The situation on the street was very calm. At a glance, basically there were few zombies. However, Chen Dong is not an ordinary person, and naturally he will not be deceived by the illusion in front of him. Although there are few zombies now, he has a painful lesson in this regard. At the beginning, Chen Dong took Xia Anqi to walk on the street. Although those cunning zombies don't like the scorching sun, they are not afraid of it. Once living people appear on the street, they will still run towards them frantically. In the end, Chen Dong and Xia Anqi hid in the residential building nearby and escaped. Xia Anqi rubbed her sleepy eyes, looked at Chen Dong's back with a face full of resentment, and muttered, "What a blockhead. He doesn't know how to be gentle with women at all." Chen Dong heard Xia Anqi's muttering and smiled. "Okay, when we get to the destination, I'll let you sleep enough." Xia Anqi's pretty face blushed. "Let me sleep enough?" Chapter 9 Infinite Cotton, Arrival at the Villa Area. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Dong didn't realize the ambiguity in his words, and continued, "I won't hide it from you, I plan to go to the suburbs this time. Compared to the urban area, the population density in the suburbs is smaller. I know there is a villa area there. The population density in such a wealthy area is very small, and naturally there will not be many zombies. So, if you find a villa there as a long-term safe haven, at least the standard of living will be much better. At the very least, it will be much better than a small supermarket." Xia Anqi pursed her lips and muttered, "The current living standard is not much better, right?" Chen Dong couldn't laugh or cry. "Isn't this heading towards a better life? Well, stop complaining and set off after breakfast." We moved forward cautiously all the way again, and found a safe place to rest at night. Wake up the next morning and check your email as usual. The next moment, Chen Dong's face suddenly became very ugly. "Damn it, system, are you playing tricks on me?" Chen Dong looked at the extra new unlimited material cotton in his backpack with a tangled face. "What's the use of cotton? I'm so stupid. I can't eat or drink. Do you want me to use it to wrap my body when I die?" Chen Dong thought to himself. "What's wrong?" Xia Anqi also just woke up, and when she saw Chen Dong's expression change, she couldn't help but ask doubtfully. Chen Dong shook his head. The system gave a piece of cotton. Although it was an unlimited material, to be honest, It was more useless than useless. Chen Dong suspected that this was the system's evil intention, created just to prank himself. It's so disgusting that it's still on the top shelf of my backpack, but Chen Dong didn't care, so he just left it like this. Nothing. Chen Dong shook his head and ignored the matter. But I still couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. I thought I could give him some medical supplies. After all, he was accompanied by a doctor. If he could get some super precious supplies such as medical alcohol, it would be very safe for survival in the apocalypse. The sky is covered with dark clouds, there is a faint roar of thunder, and the wind blows from time to time, which seems to indicate the arrival of bad weather. The depressing feeling caused by the dark clouds over the city made Chen Dong more vigilant than before. After all, he and Xia Anqi were heading to the villa area, and no one knew how many zombies or people with malicious intentions there would be there. Xia Anqi followed Chen Dong, looked at the dark clouds in the sky, and said with some worry, "Chen Dong, it seems like it's going to rain. Do we have umbrellas? In such an environment, if we catch a cold, the consequences will be disastrous." Chen Dong held a pistol in his hand and walked ahead to explore the way. Hearing Xia Anqi's words, he stopped and turned around and said, "I don't have an umbrella, but if you are afraid of catching a cold, that's fine. I have enough cold particles here to take care of you." Xia Anqi snorted, and then explained, I'm in good health, so I'm not afraid of catching a cold. I'm just worried that your team will catch a cold and get sick, and then I'll be left with a wet nurse standing by, waiting to be wiped out by the zombies." Chen Dong felt warm in his heart when he heard Xia Anqi's caring words, but I was also a little amused by Xia Anqi's duplicity. He teased, "It's okay. Dr. Xia, you are the wet nurse. Give me a few mouthfuls of milk and I will recover." After Chen Dong finished speaking, he continued to walk forward. Xia Anqi blushed for a moment when she heard Chen Dong teasing her. Seeing Chen Dong walking away, he didn't dare to stay there for too long, so he could only stamp his feet to vent his emotions and follow quickly. "Stinky Chen Dong, wait for me." Finally approaching the villa area, Chen Dong and Xia Anqi were hiding on a watchtower not far away. Chen Dong was observing the situation in the villa area with a telescope. After a long time, Chen Dong slowly put down the telescope and remained silent. Xia Anqi saw Chen Dong's frowning expression at the side and didn't dare to disturb her at first, but after a while she saw that Chen Dong still didn't speak and couldn't help but say, "Chen Dong, is the situation in the villa area so bad?" Only then did Chen Dong wake up from his thoughts. He found Xia Anqi sitting next to him, with worry in his eyes. Chen Dong patted the back of the other person's hand and comforted him. "It's okay, it's just different from the previous information. There are not too few zombies here, even a bit too many, but it's not too difficult, it just needs some arrangements. I'm working on it. Think about how to arrange it." Xia Anqi said seriously, "Chen Dong, if the villa area is really too dangerous, we can actually not go there first, find another safe shelter, and come back later when the equipment is ready." Chen Dong smiled and said, "Have you ever seen me go up to kill zombies? If I said I would take you to live in a villa, you would naturally not lie to you. It's you, please don't let me down anymore, and adapt to the survival of the apocalypse as soon as possible. Even if one day I am no longer here, you can survive well on your own." Xia Anqi heard Chen Dong's words and said quickly, Ba, don't say unlucky words." But then, she muttered again, "I know I'm in trouble, but I'm really scared when I see zombies." Chen Dong felt a little soft-hearted when he saw Xia Anqi blaming herself. "I understand that a girl will scream in fear when she encounters a zombie or something, but Xia Anqi, this is not a game. If you die, you will really die. As your teammate, I hope you live well, and I hope you can become what I can lean on your back. This is the last time I say these words. It's up to you." Chen Dong touched Xia Anqi's head and said no more. Xia Anqi didn't like people touching her head the most, but what Chen Dong said made her think a lot, and she let Chen Dong stroke her hair like a docile cat. Chen Dong took a fancy to the most luxurious villa in the villa area. "If nothing else, I just like the north-south orientation. It is located by the lake, it's a nice view. Although we are in a world like Doomsday escape, no one wants their living environment to be too bad if conditions permit." Chen Dong traded some Molotov cocktails and 2 grenades on the trading platform. preparing to use them against zombies. In addition, he also bought a crossbow for Xia Anqi to protect herself. Doctor, just give it a try. Xia Anqi took the crossbow and said firmly, Chen Dong, don't worry, I will never hold you back. Well, I believe you. Let me teach you how to use the crossbow. Then, Chen Dong taught Xia Anqi how to use the crossbow. After ensuring that Xia Anqi had some ability to protect herself, she felt relieved. Chapter 10, Taking Over the Shelter, Acid Rain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Dong said to Xia Anqi, okay, let's go in now. Looking at the weather, it's very likely to rain. Let's make a quick decision and go to the big villa to sleep tonight. Xia Anqi smiled and said, okay, I hope there is a big bed inside so I can have a good sleep. Without saying any nonsense, the two of them prepared their supplies and started heading towards their destination. Entering the villa area, Chen Dong took Xia Anqi on the grass path behind the villa complex. This is usually the path taken by the property management for inspections. Normally, there won't be many people walking around at all, but now that zombies are swarming, Chen Dong doesn't know if there will be many zombies on this path. He also had the mentality of taking a gamble. After all, a frontal attack is tantamount to giving the zombies a feast. They were lucky that no zombies were encountered on this grassy path. Just when Chen Dong and Xia Anqi were about to walk out of the grass path, a zombie suddenly walked in at the end of the grass path. Chen Dong was the closest. He was always at the forefront as the pioneer. It could be said that he and the zombies almost came into close contact. At this time, Chen Dong had no time to draw his gun, and the zombies waved their hands and attacked him. Phew! Two sharp arrows shot from behind Chen Dong, grazed Chen Dong's ears, and shot directly into the zombie's mouth. The zombies burst out thick slurry and fell forward onto Chen Dong. Chen Dong pushed the zombie away, looked at Xia Anqi who was holding a crossbow in shock behind him, and gave a thumbs up. I didn't expect you, Dr. Xia, to have such a strong shooting talent. Xia Anqi came back to her senses and asked quickly, are you okay? I was scared to death just now. I just shot the zombie with a crossbow. I found that you were so close to the zombie. I was so afraid of shooting you. But with luck, I shot the zombie directly. Shot to death. After listening to Xia Anqi's confession, Chen Dong was not scared when he encountered a zombie with a protruding face, but he was breaking out in a cold sweat at this time, thinking about the sharp arrow that flew by just now. I said in my heart, it was just a little bit, I almost died before leaving the battle, or I was stabbed in the back by my teammates and died. Okay, I'm fine. Let's keep walking. The shelter we chose before is almost here. At this time, there was a sound outside the villa area. Damn it! Rush in and occupy a villa. Once inside, the zombies won't be much of a threat to us. Fire arrows. Suppress the zombie attacks and set them on fire. Chen Dong frowned. Unexpectedly, other players also came in the villa area, but just in time. They can attract the attention of most zombies. It sounds like they are a large group. Chen Dong grabbed Xia Anqi and took advantage of the chaos to rush out of the grass path and run towards the villa they chose. During the process, some zombies discovered the auras of Chen Dong and Xia Anqi and rushed towards them, but before they could get close, Chen Dong used a Molotov cocktail to block them from a distance. Finally, he threw a grenade into the zombie group. Boom! The zombies were decimated, and the two of them successfully ran into the villa by the lake. The momentum created by Chen Dong also alarmed the group in the outer circle of the villa area. Damn it! Are there players here? He actually has a grenade in his hand. What's so strange about this? Don't we also have a grenade? He can't have many, I guess he only has one. Damn, I still want to keep this grenade, but it seems I have no choice. Then there was the sound of a grenade detonating again. After Chen Dong and Xia Anqi entered the villa, as soon as they closed the door, they saw several zombies on the first floor of the villa. Before the zombie could react, Chen Dong took out his P92 and shot. Coupled with Xia Anqi's random shooting next to him, several zombies in the villa were immediately cleared away. The reason why Chen Dong used the few Molotov cocktails at hand regardless of the cost, and even consumed a grenade, and was unwilling to take out the P92 pistol was because he was worried about being alerted by other groups. After all, although Molotov cocktails and grenades are precious, they are still sold on the trading platform, but no one wants to hang guns on the trading platform at present, as they are all regarded as treasures. Chen Dong and Xia Anqi cleared the zombies out of the villa and determined their long-term refuge in the future. At the same time, a window popped up on Chen Dong's interface. Dear players, it has been detected that the refuge is in an unknown state. Do you choose to take over? Whether, Chen Dong clicked the yes option. As the system beeped, Chen Dong felt that the villa became the property of their team. Villa Area Shelter provides a place for players to rest. It can be used for blueprint upgrades later to avoid zombie waves and challenges between players. Chen Dong turned to look at Xia Anqi and said with a smile, Dr. Xia, we can live in this villa for a long time. You can also understand this as our home in this apocalyptic world. Seeing Xia Anqi letting go of the pressure and laughing happily, Chen Dong also broke away from the fighting state. Yes, it is really a luxury to have a refuge in the zombie world. After strolling around the villa, Chen Dong walked to the balcony on the second floor of the villa. Although the group that broke in from the front successfully entered the villa area, they suffered heavy losses. You can see them clearly, and they must have lost a lot of supplies. After all, almost half of the zombies in the villa area ran to them. In another villa, a young man reported to the middle-aged man sitting on a luxurious leather sofa, Brother Jiang, we suffered heavy losses this time. Half of our brothers died. More importantly, our combat supplies are gone. Only some cold weapons are left. Jiang Kai listened to the report with a gloomy face and slapped the marble coffee table in front of him twice. Fuck. It's all because of the wrong intelligence. They said there were few zombies in the villa area. As a result, we hastily attacked from the front and killed most of the zombies in the villa area. Now there are indeed fewer zombies in the villa area. Damn. Just as he was furious and yelling, a bolt of lightning suddenly struck in the sky, followed by a loud explosion. Pop. The black clouds finally couldn't bear the burden, and heavy rain poured down. The air became damp and cold, and the temperature dropped sharply. The chat channel exploded. Number 382334, what bad luck. I thought it was raining and I could drink water, but I ended up collecting a bucket of water and it turned out to be acid rain. Not only that, but if I touch the acid rain, I will get burned. It hurts so much. Number 345345, I was just about to collect some water. Never mind, I'll collect it first. If there is really no water one day, boiled acid rain will be sweeter than the farmer's mountain spring.